Hey everyone, welcome back to Poplar Preparedness. We got a lot of things going on out there. We got food shortages from the bird flu spinning back up again. We got a lot of what's happening overseas. We have a massive drought that we're hearing about now in Argentina. They are the third largest exporter of corn out there. They export a lot of food beyond corn, soybeans, I believe, and definitely wheat. They export a lot of beef, and they have a catastrophic, the worst drought in 30 years. So go back to 1990s, okay, before you had a drought that was comparable. That's right on the border of, some of that area is right on the border of Brazil. So we haven't seen what's going to be happening there, but we're having droughts and we're having bad harvests across the board, across the world. So we've got a lot of issues out there that food is becoming more and more of an issue. We're going to be really seeing the impacts of that this winter and next spring. The question is are people going to kind of catch on to what's going on with that? If people catch on to what's going on with that, they're going to start stocking up in advance, and food will disappear relatively quickly. I keep talking about stack up, stock up on food. Just this morning, I did a long video on protecting yourself financially from the crisis that's about to happen, that your dollars are going to become worthless, and you really need to have some real money, some real assets. Now, we always talk about real assets around here. We talk about whether you get that in powder and lead, or whether you get that in food or tradables, things like that. But when you have a little bit more assets, you need to protect those financial, whether you have a retirement account, that type of thing. You want to get those into real assets like silver, on gold. But we need to be watching out for all these crises that are happening, and there is a lot going on. What is going to happen the next number of months in Eastern Europe? I don't know, but there was this big powwow, right, over in Central Asia, and between the Putin and the Xi, and that was a pretty epic meeting. What is going to happen there? Over the last number of years, they've had this trilateral agreement. That they would have no alliances, that they would not antagonize any foreigners, or basically they weren't going to go out and provoke a world war, essentially. And these agreements were really focused on that bear country and dragon country were not going to ally themselves with each other, but they were just going to kind of move in their own spheres, but neither one of them was going to start a world war. That was kind of the agreement that they had going into actually meeting face-to-face. What were they discussing face-to-face? And I really have the question of whether they were discussing changing that aggression thing, that they're talking about actually moving into world war. But I mean, you can't just change a policy like that. You can't just change that without actually having a face-to-face conversation between the heads of state that really do have basically all the power in their own countries, right? And that meeting has taken place, and we don't have any indication that that's what they discussed, but you would have to have that type of meeting before things would really change. Were they discussing Taiwan? Were they discussing expanding things in Eastern Europe? I don't know. But one thing we do know happened there is that Iran got the approval to move into the Security Pact. So they have moved into the agreement, the Shanghai Accords. Iran is now on the ascent. They have gotten done with all the sanctions and everything like that from the West. They are now literally flying in the face of those things, and they've said that they've been shying away from recognizing Iran because they didn't want to antagonize the United States. Now they're at a point where they don't mind antagonizing the United States, and so they are bringing Iran in. So over the next couple weeks, tons and tons of businesses from Bear Country are going to be going down into Iran to start talking about strengthening economic ties. All that is pointing to the fact that the Axis over there in Asia do not care anymore about what the West says. That they are going to move forward with their plans, and the question is, if they have no fear of us, what happens when we try to beat them with a stick? What happens when they turn around and they grab the stick? And that's kind of where we're going right now. What happens when Bear Country is so upset with the United States and other countries pumping arms and munitions into Eastern Europe, and they start pumping arms and munitions into Central America? What happens when they start arming up Cuba? What happens when they start arming up, North Korea? Like, seriously arming them. Not like under the radar, but they start pouring in billions of dollars with their high-tech weapons. I mean, do we really have any ground to stand on at this point? Because we've said, well, it's not really fighting if we're just giving weapons to people shooting at you. And we're doing it overtly. We're not even trying to hide it. That really opens up the door for a lot of conflicts out there that could be armed and equipped by these other countries. So we have a lot of uncertainty happening in the world, not only on the food front, but politically. I don't have to tell you that things are happening that are very gravely concerning around the world, and we need to be becoming more and more prepared. If you don't like the way the world's going, if you don't like the world system, if you don't like the things that people are being forced to say, forced to be silent about, forced to not participate in, and you need to make the decision of whether you're going to opt out of that system. And you can only do that if you are self-sufficient. If you can operate without the system, then you can say, I'm not going to have anything to do with this system. I'm just going to do my own thing. And that's where we really need to get. We need more and more people all around the world who are self-sufficient enough, or who have relationships with other people and combine their self-sufficient, or have a lot less dependency on the government of their countries, that they can say, get lost, leave us alone. Because that's where this is all headed. The people that are trying to manipulate you and reach down into your life and force you to do things, you need to be able to be independent of them so that they don't have any handle that they can grab onto you, or any easy handle. The harder you make it for them to reach down and say, well, then we're just going to withhold your food stamps, or we're going to withhold your retirement benefits, or we're going to make it so that you don't get any food distribution at the food distribution warehouse, right? You need to be able to be in a place where you say, well, I don't care. My values, my morality, my integrity are worth more than what you're offering me, what you're promising and take away from me. I can get by without those things. You see the story back in the Bible of Sodom and Gomorrah, and Lot and his family had to leave the city. They had to leave everything behind. I mean, and that's kind of where we are as a society all across the West, whether you're in Australia, whether you're in New Zealand, whether you're in the UK or Europe. We're at a point where you need to be like, I'm gone. And whether you're actually physically moving away or not, you are separating yourself from the economy, that you are pulling back from the things that they can use to control you. Because hard times are coming, that's for sure. And you need to be able to get what you need, or be satisfied with what you have, so that they can't force you to do things. That's all I got for you today. If you found this useful or helpful, you might want to check out this other video from me. Otherwise, I will see you later. Steve Poplar, out.